Salutations everyone. This will be a short guide on the Sethrak race, their history, ties to other factions, and potential place in the future of World of Warcraft. It is important to note that I will be primarily focusing on the Horde side of Vol'dun, as they have spent the main crux of their time with the Sethrak. Thousands of years ago, long before the Aegir and Troll War, Vol'dun was once a lush jungle, filled with an abundance of wildlife and sustainable rivers. Under the worship of Sethraliss, the Sethrak lived in peace, working alongside their troll neighbours, including the other Loa of the region, Akunda and Kimbal respectively. Together, the three Loa would help govern the region and its inhabitants. Kimbal favoured those who valued strength. Akunda sought to help those relinquish their deepest burdens and seek out a new life in Tyre. While we don't know a great deal about what role Sethraliss played compared to the other two Loa, giving upcoming revelations I believe she was the key to keeping Vol'dun's life intact.
Long ago, Mythrax the Unraveler descended upon our lands. He slaughtered all in his path, Troll and Sethrak alike. Our Loa sacrificed herself to save us from that monstrosity. She struck the Mythrax down, but not before it was able to destroy the disc at the heart of Atulaman.
Although surviving her encounter with Mythrax, Sethraliss's wounds were far too deep to heal, leading to her slow and unfortunate demise. Many Sethrak were left disheartened by the loss of their Loa. To honor her sacrifice, they constructed a magnificent temple in her name, fittingly dubbed the Temple of Sethraliss. It would serve as the heart of their people's society, harboring a significant presence among the surface, while the main bulk of their civilization resided deep below the earth. Unfortunately for the Sethrak, their troubles had only just begun.
After witnessing his destruction firsthand, we knew that something must be done to prevent anyone from raising Mythrax again. Although immensely powerful, Sethraliss could not create the barrier alone. Korthek and I lent him our aid, and together we sealed Mythrax within the Great Pyramid. As the sands continued to spread, Korthek grew hungry for war. He plotted to unearth the Mythrax and use him as a weapon to conquer the continent.
Korthek's betrayal was suspected by Sethraliss. He sought to safeguard his key and relay a secret message to Vorik, a final act of nobility before being snuffed out by the faithless Empire.
If you are receiving this message, then I fear I was too late. Korthek has betrayed our people and plans to break the barrier we placed on the tomb long ago. I can only hope I've hidden my key well enough so that you are the only one to find it.
Korthek raised an army of like-minded Sethrak, and they began to slaughter those who opposed them. Sethraliss was the first to fall, but not before safeguarding his key. Those of us still loyal to Sethraliss were forced out of our home and into hiding. We have been fighting the faithless ever since.
The war against the faithless Empire was not boding well in the devoted Sethrak's favor. Korthek had gained many followers that started to outnumber the devoted. The Terrace of the Devoted served as the last bastion against the faithless, with only a handful of rebels left to stave off their attacks. Korthek's empire did not rest idle, however. For centuries they enslaved the nomadic race known as the Volpera, forcing them into slave labor or selling them off into auctions. Their young were not spared the cruelty of the empire. The devoted held out hope that their allies, the Zandalari, would come to their aid. However, due to the constant political climate of Zuldazar, it ensured very little beyond the sands would hear nor investigate the atrocities being held. Both Volpera and devoted were left to fend for themselves. Centuries passed and the faithless managed to capture Vorik. They prepared his escort to Korthek for execution. However, their plans were thwarted by the arrival of unlikely allies. Freed from a champion of the Horde, Vorik enlisted their aid alongside Rukira and Kaja in bringing down the faithless empire. Although not initially part of his plan, the Volpera that managed to hide away from the Faithless joined forces with Vorik and the Horde champion. Nisha, known as the Fury of the Volpera, jumped at the opportunity to slay the very monster that enslaved her people. Together, the three liberated many of the enslaved and took the fight directly to Emperor Korthek himself. Korthek believed he was the true power of the Sethrak, and by liberating Mythrax from his prison, he could conquer all of Azeroth. Vorik rebuked his words, and claimed that he would unite the Sethrak back to their peaceful ways, and by freeing the Mythrax from his prison, that was the greatest betrayal not only to his people, but Sethraliss. For ending the Emperor's life, Korthek uttered one final insult to his old friend.
We did not force anyone to follow me, Vorik. Our people are conquerors. No, old friend. Our people are dead because of you. And now you must join them. Sethraliss forgive you.
Unfortunately for the group, Korthek's ally, Jack Rosette, successfully managed to bring about the return of Mythrax. Having witnessed the destruction that the Mythrax caused centuries ago, Vorik firmly believed that Sethraliss was needed if they had any hope of bringing down the monstrosity. He instructed the Horde champion to gather their forces and lay siege to the Temple of Sethraliss itself, for he said something had long been preventing her return. Although the battle was perilous, the Horde champion successfully freed Sethraliss from her bindings. With the temple now cleared of the faithless, and with the Loa's return, Vorik could finally begin to lay the foundations of rebuilding the Sethrak, and Sethraliss could finally take the fight to Mythrax once again. At least that's what you think would happen, but no, she doesn't actually. And the Sethrak just kind of fade away from the story after that. Yeah, there's no lore telling us how they're doing after that. There's no, is Sethraliss doing good? Is Vorik actually leading the people now? Let's jump forward to the War Within, shall we? Six years since the release of Battle for Azeroth, and 6 years since we saw another Sethrak around Azeroth, we were met with the surprise appearance of one within the Delve, known as Fungal Folly. She is the first confirmed Sethrak mage on screen that we have at least seen. I will not spoil the challenge that she has to offer. What is most important is the additional dialogue that you can acquire from simply asking her. The dialogue itself does not reveal much about the state of the Sethrak leadership, Sethraliss, or Vol'dun itself. It is worth keeping in mind that whoever wrote her dialogue remembered specifically the Horde aiding them back during Battle for Azeroth. In addition, this confirms that the Sethrak are actually traversing the world beyond the sands. The fact that Kastrik wishes to return to Vol'dun with stories of her adventures leads me to believe that the Sethrak are in fact in the better place than they were by the end of Battle for Azeroth. However, despite the glimmer of hope this single Sethrak provides to the Sethrak community, there is a little bit left for us to discuss for the future of the Sethrak and what Blizzard could do for them going forward. Given the longevity of the Sethrak, it would be interesting to uncover if they held any old grudges with the Nerubian Empire long before the Sundering. Keep in mind that the Sethrak also shared a massive underground civilization, just like the Nerubians, and with the threat of the Void, namely Xal'atath, it would be interesting to see the Sethrak join the fight against the very force that created Mythrax, and by extension, led to Sethraliss' sacrifice. One final note is the lack of cultural lore that the Sethrak weren't provided during Battle for Azeroth. We know very little of their customs and traditions. This is something that the Nerubians were given extensively during the War Within. It is my hope that the Sethrak will one day receive the same treatment. There are many among the community who love the Sethrak for their unique design and architecture. Seeing them make a proper reappearance in the world would go a long way in showing that their story is not complete.